Unfortunately, the planning department came very late in the day, and when it did come, I was left out. During my time, there have been many transfers of portfolios from one minister to another. I thought I might be considered for any one of them, but I have always been left out of consideration. Many ministers have been given 2 or 3 portfolios so that they have been overburdened. Others like me have been wanting more work. I have not even been considered for holding a portfolio temporarily when a minister in charge has gone abroad for a few days. It is difficult to understand what is the principle underlying the distribution of government work among ministers which the Prime Minister follows. Is it capacity? Is it trust? Is it friendship? Is it pliability? I was not even appointed to be a member of main committees of the cabinet such as Foreign Affairs Committee or the Defense Committee. When the Economics Affairs Committee was formed, I expected, in view of the fact that I was primarily a student of economics and finance, to be appointed to this committee. But I was left out. I was appointed to it by the cabinet when the Prime Minister had gone to England. But when he returned, in one of his many essays in the reconstruction of the cabinet, he left me out. In a subsequent reconstruction, my name was added to the committee, but that was as a result of my protest. The Prime Minister, I am sure, will agree that I have never complained to him in this connection. I have never been a party to the game of power politics inside the cabinet or the game of snatching portfolios which goes on when there is a vacancy. I believe in service in the post which the Prime Minister, who as the head of the cabinet thought fit to assign to me. It would have, however, been quite unhuman for me not to have felt that a wrong was being done to me. I will now refer to another matter that had made me dissatisfied with the government. It relates to the treatment accorded to the backward classes and the scheduled castes. I was very sorry that the Constitution did not embody any safeguards for the backward classes. It was left to be done by the executive government on the basis of the recommendations of a commission to be appointed by the President. More than a year has elapsed since we passed the Constitution. But the government has not even thought of appointing the commission. The year 1946, during which I was out of office, was a year of great anxiety to me, and to the leading members of the scheduled castes. The British had resiled from the commitments they had made in the matter of constitutional safeguards for the scheduled castes, and the scheduled castes had no knowing as to what the Constituent Assembly would do in that behalf. In this period of anxiety, I had prepared a report * on the condition of the scheduled castes for submission to the United Nations. But I did not submit it. I felt that it would be better to wait until the Constituent Assembly and the future Parliament was given a chance to deal with the matter. The provisions made in the Constitution for safeguarding the position of the scheduled castes were not to my satisfaction. However, I accepted them for what they were worth, hoping that government will show some determination to make them effective. What is the scheduled castes today? So far as I see, it is the same as before. The same old tyranny, the same old oppression, the same old discrimination which existed before, exists now, and perhaps in a worse form. I can refer to hundreds of cases where people from the scheduled castes round about Delhi and adjoining places have come to me with their tales of woes against the caste Hindus and against the police who have refused to register their complaints and render them any help. I have been wondering whether there is any other parallel in the world to the condition of scheduled castes in India. I cannot find any. And yet why is no relief granted to the scheduled castes? Compare the concern the government shows over safeguarding the Muslims. The Prime Minister's whole time and attention is devoted for the protection of the Muslims. I yield to none, not even to the Prime Minister, in my desire to give the Muslims of India the utmost protection wherever and whenever they stand in need of it. But what I want to know is, are the Muslims the only people who need protection? Are the scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and the Indian Christians not in need of protection? What concern has he shown for these communities? So far as I know, none, and yet these are the communities which need far more care and attention than the Muslims. I could not contain within myself the indignation I have felt over the neglect of the scheduled castes by the government, and on one occasion, I gave vent to my feelings at a public meeting of the scheduled castes. A question was asked from the Honorable the Home Minister, whether my charge that the scheduled castes had not benefited by the rule which guaranteed to them 12.5% representation was true. In answer to the question, the Honorable the Home Minister was pleased to say that my charge was baseless. Subsequently, for some reason, it may be for satisfying the qualms of his conscience, he, I am informed, sent round a circular to the various departments of the Government of India asking them to report how many scheduled caste candidates had been recently recruited in government service. I am informed that most departments in reply said nil or nearly nil. If my information is correct, I need make no commentary on the answer given by the Honorable the Home Minister. From my yearly childhood, I have dedicated myself to the upliftment of the scheduled castes among whom I was born. It is not that there were no temptation in my way. If I had considered my own interest, I could have been anything I wanted to be, and if I had joined the Congress would have reached to the highest place in that organization. But as I said, I had dedicated myself to the upliftment of scheduled castes, and I have followed the adage that it is better to be narrow-minded if you wish to be enthusiastic about a cause which you wish to accomplish. You can therefore well imagine what pain it has caused me to see that the cause of the scheduled castes has been relegated to the limbo of nothing. The third matter which has given me cause, not merely for dissatisfaction but for actual anxiety and even worry, is the foreign policy of the country. Anyone who has followed the course of our foreign policy and along with it the attitude of other countries towards India, could not fail to realize the sudden change that has taken place in their attitude towards us. On 15th of August 1947, when we began our life as an independent country, there was no country which wished us ill. Every country in the world was our friend. Today, after 4 years, all our friends have deserted us. We have no friends left. We have alienated ourselves. We are pursuing a lonely furrow with no one even to second our resolutions in the UNO. When I think of our foreign policy, I am reminded of what Bismarck and Bernard Shaw have said. Bismarck has said that politics is not a game of realizing the ideal. Politics is the game of the possible. Bernard Shaw not very long ago said that good ideals are good, but one must not forget that it is often dangerous to be too good. Our foreign policy is in complete opposition to these words of wisdom uttered by two of the world's greatest men. How dangerous it has been to us, this policy of doing the impossible and of being too good, is illustrated by the great drain on our resources made by our military expenditure, by the difficulty of getting food for our starving millions, and by difficulty of getting aid for the industrialization of our country. Out of 350 crores of rupees of revenue we raise annually, we spend about 180 crores of rupees on the army. It is a colossal expenditure which has hardly any parallel. This colossal expenditure is the direct result of our foreign policy. We have to foot the whole of our bill for our defense ourselves because we have no friends on which we can depend for help in any emergency that may arise. I have been wondering whether this is the right sort of foreign policy. Our quarrel with Pakistan is a part of our foreign policy about which I feel deeply dissatisfied. There are two grounds which have disturbed our relations with Pakistan. One is Kashmir, and the other is the condition of our people in East Bengal. I felt that we should be more deeply concerned with East Bengal, where the condition of our people seems from all the newspapers intolerable, than with Kashmir. Notwithstanding this, we have been staking our all on the Kashmir issue. Even then, I feel we have been fighting on an unreal issue. The issue on which we have been fighting most of the time is who is in the right and who is in the wrong. The real issue to my mind is not who is right but what is right. Taking that to be the main question, my view has always been that the right solution is to partition Kashmir. Give the Hindu and Buddhist part to India and the Muslim part to Pakistan, as we did in the case of India. We are really not concerned with the Muslim part of Kashmir. It is a matter between the Muslims of Kashmir and Pakistan. They may decide the issue as they like. Or, if you like, divide into 3 parts: the ceasefire zone, the valley, and the Jammu-Ladakh region, and have a plebiscite only in the valley. What I am afraid of is that in the proposed plebiscite, which is to be an overall plebiscite, the Hindus and Buddhists of Kashmir are likely to be dragged into Pakistan against their wishes, and we may have to face same problems as we are facing today in East Bengal. I will now refer to the fourth matter, which has a good deal to do with my resignation. The Cabinet has become a merely recording and registration office of decisions already arrived at by committees. As I have said, the Cabinet now works by committees. There is a Defense Committee. There is a Foreign Committee. All important matters relating to defense are disposed of by the Defense Committee. The same members of the Cabinet are appointed by them. I am not a member of either of these committees. They work behind an iron curtain. Others who are not members have only to take joint responsibility without any opportunity of taking part in the shaping of policy. This is an impossible position. I will now deal with a matter which has led me finally to come to the decision that I should resign. It is the treatment which was accorded to the Hindu Code. The bill was introduced in this House on the April 11, 1947. After a life of 4 years, it was killed and died unwept and unsung, after 4 clauses of it were passed. While it was before the House, it lived by fits and starts. For full 1 year, the government did not feel it necessary to refer it to a select committee. It was referred to the Select Committee on April 9, 1948. The report was presented to the House on August 12, 1948. The motion for the consideration of the report was made by me on August 31, 1948. It was merely for making the motion that the bill was kept on the agenda. The discussion of the motion was not allowed to take place until the February session of the year 1949. Even then, it was not allowed to have a continuous discussion. It was distributed over 10 months, 4 days in February, 1 day in March and 2 days in April 1949. After this, 1 day was given to the bill in December 1949, namely the December 19th, on which day the House adopted my motion that the bill as reported by the Select Committee be taken into consideration. No time was given to the bill in the year 1950. Next time the bill came before the House was on February 5, 1951, when the clause-by-clause consideration of the bill was taken. Only 3 days, 5th, 6th and February 7th, were given to the bill and left there to rot. This being the last sessions of the present Parliament, Cabinet had to consider whether Hindu Code Bill should be got through before this Parliament ended or whether it should be left over to the new Parliament. The Cabinet unanimously decided that it should be put through in this Parliament. So the bill was put on the agenda and was taken up on the September 17, 1951 for further clause-by-clause consideration. As the discussion was going on, the Prime Minister put forth a new proposal, namely, that the bill as a whole may not be got through within the time available, and that it was desirable to get a part of it enacted into law rather than allow the whole of it to go to waste. It was a great wrench to me. But I agreed, for, as the proverb says, it is better to save a part when the whole is likely to be lost. The Prime Minister suggested that we should select the marriage and divorce part. The bill in its truncated form went on. After 2 or 3 days of the discussion of the bill, the Prime Minister came up with another proposal. This time his proposal was to drop the whole bill, even the marriage and divorce portion. This came to me as a great shock, a bolt from the blue. I was stunned and could not say anything. I am not prepared to accept that the dropping of this truncated bill was due to want of time. I am sure that the truncated bill was dropped because other and more powerful members of the Cabinet wanted precedence for their bills. I am unable to understand how the Bananas and Aligarh University bills, how the press bill could have been given precedence over the Hindu Code even in its attenuated form. It is not that there was no law on the statute book to govern the Aligarh University or the Banaras University. It is not that these universities would have gone to wreck and ruins if the bills had not been passed in this session. It is not that the press bill was urgent. There is already a law on the statute book and the bill could have waited. I got the impress that the Prime Minister, although sincere, had not the earnestness and determination required to get the Hindu Code Bill
mental
through.
Torture. The aid of party machinery was denied to me. The Prime Minister gave freedom of vote, an unusual thing in the history of the party. I did not mind it. But I expected 2 things. I expected a party whip as to time limit on speeches and instruction to the chief whip to move closure when sufficient debate had taken place. A whip on time limit on speeches would have got the bill through. When freedom of voting was given, there could have been no objection to have given a whip for time limit on speeches. But such a whip was never issued. The conduct of the Minister for Parliamentary Affairs, who is also the chief whip of the party in connection with the Hindu Code, to say the least, has been most extraordinary. He has been the deadliest opponent of the code and has never been present to aid me by moving a closure motion. For days and hours filibustering has gone on a single clause. But the chief whip, whose duty it is to economize government time and push on government business, has been systematically absent when the Hindu Code has been under consideration in the House. I have never seen a case of a chief whip so disloyal to the Prime Minister and a Prime Minister so loyal to a disloyal whip. Notwithstanding this unconstitutional behavior, the chief whip is really a darling of the Prime Minister. For notwithstanding his disloyalty he got a promotion in the party organization. It is impossible to carry on in such circumstances. It has been said that the bill had to be dropped because the opposition was strong. How strong was the opposition? This bill has been discussed several times in the party and was carried to division by the opponents. Every time the opponents were routed. The last time when the bill was taken up in the party meeting, out of 120 only 20 were found to be against it. When the bill was taken in the party for discussion, 44 clauses were passed in about 3.5 hours' time. This shows how much opposition there was to the bill within the party. In the House itself, there have been divisions on 3 clauses of the bill, 2, 3, and 5. Every time there has been an overwhelming majority in favor even on Clause 4, which is the soul of the Hindu Code. I was, therefore, quite unable to accept the Prime Minister's decision to abandon the bill on the ground of time. I have been obliged to give this elaborate explanation for my resignation because some people have suggested that I am going because of my illness. I wish to repudiate any such suggestion. I am the last man to abandon my duty because of illness. It may be said that my resignation is out of time and that if I was dissatisfied with the foreign policy of the government and the treatment accorded to backward classes and the scheduled castes, I should have gone earlier. The charge may sound as true. But I had reasons which held me back. In the first place, most of the time I have been a member of the cabinet, I have been busy with the framing of the Constitution. It absorbed all my attention till January 26, 1950, and thereafter I was concerned with the People's Representation Bill and the Delimitation Orders. I had hardly any time to attend to our foreign affairs. I did not think it right to go away leaving this work unfinished. In the second place, I thought it necessary to stay on, for the sake of the Hindu Code. In the opinion of some, it may be wrong for me to have held on for the sake of the Hindu Code. I took a different view. The Hindu Code was the greatest social reform measure ever undertaken by the legislature in this country. No law passed by the Indian legislature in the past or likely to be passed in the future can be compared to it in point of its significance. To leave inequality between class and class, between sex and sex, which is the soul of Hindu society, untouched, and to go on passing legislation relating to economic problems is to make a farce of our constitution and to build a palace on a dung heap. This is the significance I attached to the Hindu Code. It is for its sake that I stayed on notwithstanding my differences. So if I have committed a wrong, it is in the hope of doing some good. Had I no ground for such a hope, for overcoming the obstructionist tactics of the opponents? I would like in this connection to refer only to 3 of the statements made by the Prime Minister on the floor of the House. On November 28, 1949, the Prime Minister gave the following assurance. He said, "What is more, the government is committed to this thing, Hindu Code. It is going through with it. Government would proceed with that. It is for this House to accept a measure, but if a government takes an important measure, and the House rejects it, the House rejects that government and the government goes and another government comes in its place. It should be clearly understood that this is one of the important measures to which the government attaches importance and on which it will stand or fall." Again on December 19, 1949, the Prime Minister said, "I do not wish the House to think in the slightest degree that we consider that this Hindu Code Bill is not of importance, because we do attach the greatest importance to it, as I said, not because of any particular clause or anything, but because of the basic approach to this vast problem in problems, economic and social. We have achieved political freedom in this country, political independence. That is a stage in the journey, and there are other stages, economic, social and other, and if society is to advance, there must be this integrated advance on all fronts." On the September 26, 1951, the Prime Minister said, "It is not necessary for me to assure the House of the desire of government to proceed with this measure in so far as we can proceed with it within possibilities, and so far as we are concerned we consider this matter as adjourned till such time as the next opportunity. I hope it will be in this Parliament, offers itself. This was after the Prime Minister had announced the dropping of the bill. Who could not have believed in these pronouncements of the Prime Minister? If I did not think that there could be a difference between the promises and performances of the Prime Minister, the fault is certainly not mine. My exit from the cabinet may not be a matter of much concern to anybody in this country. But I must be true to myself, and that can be only by going out. Before I do so, I wish to thank my colleagues for the kindness and courtesy they have shown to me during my membership of the cabinet. While I am not resigning from my membership of Parliament, I also wish to express my gratitude to members of Parliament for having shown great tolerance towards me. October 10, 1951. B. R. Ambedkar. New Delhi.